The opinions expressed here are those of the students and do not necessarily reflect the positions of Tyler Junior College.
Coming up on the Drumbeat, a recap of the events that took place for Dia de los Muertos. Then, a look at TJC Theater's production of Holes. Later, a look at the small art pieces popping up on campus. The Drumbeat starts right now.
Studio 1108 in Jenkins Hall on the campus of Tyler Junior College. This is the Drumbeat, bringing you the latest from students like us.
Welcome to the Drumbeat. I'm Santiago Nunez. The Hispanic Student Organization held an event to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. The event was focused on key elements of the traditional holiday, as 3 ofrendas were set up around campus, with the main one located next to the Wise Performing Arts Center and the Rogers Palmer Performing Arts Center.
Something that I love about Day of the Dead is that not only is it a holiday that shows our Catholic side, but it actually goes further back to highlight our roots. The Day of the Dead actually is inspired from an old Aztec festival where they celebrate the goddess of death and all of your loved ones who have passed away. That's why we have the marigolds. That isn't a Spanish European thing, that's an Aztec thing. And so obviously whenever colonization happened, they decided to combine it to show both sides of the cultures, the Spanish Catholicism side, but also the Aztec side, wherever you bring a lot of food and you bring out the flowers and you bring out symbols of your loved ones. So it's a day that isn't supposed to be sad. It's a day wherever you can put your abuela's favorite foods there, or your dad, if he had a tie he would wear, you leave it there and you light candles and you put the flowers there, and it's supposed to be a way where the spirits in heaven can come back to earth, even for only a few days, to be with their family again.
TJC Theater is performing their second play of the semester, Holes. The play follows Stanley Yelnats as he is sent away to Camp Green Lake for a crime he did not commit. His time there is beneficial in learning more about himself and his family with the help of some newfound companions. You can catch the last 4 showings November 10th through 12th at 7:30 p.m. with an additional show on the 12th at 2:30 p.m. A Dungeons & Dragons club was recently founded at TJC. Jude Radcliffe tells us more.
Students at TJC have organized a club for the tabletop role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons. Originally created in 1974, the game's popularity has skyrocketed in media in recent years.
Most of the reason it organized is because I couldn't find a very well-organized group, although I could tell a lot of people were into the game.
Adam started the club after noticing a lack of tabletop club at TJC. There's currently one play group, though others are invited to start their own within the club. The group meets at Boards and Bites, a diner that supports board games and roleplay.
It adds a little whimsical to the world, you know? It's just, we take ourselves so seriously to the point where we're just we accept that everything will be bad. In D&D, you can just, I know I mentioned this many a time, but you can do whatever you want. Be whatever you want, and it breaks down the rules of everything so concrete. In D&D, you can do whatever you want.
Though the club started out not being officially recognized by TJC, they recently gained the sponsorship of psychology professor Clint Selman, making them official. They now hope to increase the number of members in the club to create more playgroups within it, possibly branching out into other tabletop roleplay games like Magic the Gathering. I'm Jude Radcliffe for TheDrumBeat.com.
The Digital Media Lab held a workshop today in Vaughn Library. Students had a chance to learn about the 3D printer in the library by printing and designing their own models. The Digital Media Lab will hold the next and final workshop of the semester on December 1st.
With the Digital Media Lab, we're offering workshops that allow students to experiment and learn new technologies. So we've done workshops on 3D printing. We've done workshops on 3D modeling in Blender. We have some more planned coming up. We did have a mousetrap car project, but that actually got taken up with the honors. So we're going to do a different 3D printing one for this month, where we'll take a closer look at taking 3D models, slicing them down into layers, and then printing them out on our machines out here. So beyond that, this semester we're also doing a holiday ornament, holiday decorations workshop where we're going to use our Glowforge laser, and we're going to burn wood and engrave photos and make images and make things. So yeah, we're going to do that in December.
Students may have noticed sculptures and installments popping up in the garden between Wise and Jenkins. Garrett Snyder tells us more.
TJC is an art display most students might miss at a glance. Students of Professor Chance Dunlap's Art Composition 2 class have set up wireframe art pieces all throughout the Azalea Garden.
My art piece is mostly taken in the form of chicken wire and recycled soda cans. I just really wanted to have that recycling feel to my piece to show that you can repurpose art and make anything out of anything. I like it because it's intertwined in the nature. It's not really out there, but it's kind of hidden in the features of nature.
These pieces are on display, and Professor Dunlap hints there might be more to come.
I definitely am interested in having students do work in that area in the future. I think Hannah mentioned that the ceramics class is doing something similar, but with ceramic objects. And I think as a department, we're interested in getting art out of the confines of a gallery or the studio and out into the public eye, sometimes in places you wouldn't expect to experience art at all.
I'm Garrett Snyder with the DrumBeat.com.
Coming up after the break, an interview with TJC English professor and advisor for the Bell Tower Arts Journal, Reagan Minkle.
And is this with the doctor or is this with the nurse practitioner? Fantastic. Dad, lunch. Got some soup for you.
You are loved.
Oh, you. Look at those freckles.
This was very much.
You are valued. You are strong. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. I'm here with Reagan Minkle, a TJC English professor and advisor for the Bell Tower Arts Journal, which seeks to offer greater access to the humanities for the TJC community, celebrate the artistic and literary achievements of TJC students, and promote academic scholarship in the humanities across the campus. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well as well.
Good.
What is the goal of the Bell Tower Arts Journal?
The goal is to give all of the students here on campus and off of campus enrolled in the college chance to showcase their art, to express themselves, and to get published in a journal that can hopefully build resumes and make them feel empowered and have a creative outlet.
So it's about letting students express themselves with an art and then just getting it out there.
That's right. That's right.
How rigorous is the process in creating it?
It's pretty complex. I will say it's totally it's created totally by the students. So the students in the visual arts department, they put together the layout and they put together everything with regards to what goes on each page. As the editor, I just read, make sure there's no grammar issues or punctuation issues. And the most important part is really what the students do, which is to put the to put it all together into a manuscript. And it takes quite some time.
So it's very complex for students especially, to put it together because, it's just they're getting started. You have to coordinate them. It's a very back and forth thing. It's
Yes.
their first, maybe art journal, maybe publication in general.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of people involved in it. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of walking across campus from Jenkins to Pirtle. And so, because that's where those students normally are. So there's a lot of fix this, email it back, fix this. So, but it's a wonderful opportunity to give them the chance to take ownership of it. It's totally theirs. It's totally the students. So
I like that.
yeah.
How long has the journal been around?
So the journal was created in 2016 by Dr. Linda Gary. She was the dean here of HCFA dean for a couple of years. She retired last year, I think. But yeah, since 2006.
2006.
Did I say 6 or 16? 2006 is when it was officially started.
Okay.
So a lot longer than I had originally said.
Is there any criteria for selection to be included in the journal?
The selections, they can't be too long. So 3 pages, if we're talking literary pieces, they can't be any longer than 3 pages. And they can't be profane in nature. And that's a weird thing because art is art and sometimes there's a place for that in art, but we want to make sure that we're upholding the standards of the mission of the college, and so obviously profanity isn't allowed, but that's really it. We have some issues with medium. If somebody wants to submit a sculpture, that doesn't translate very well into a literary journal, so they would take a photograph of it, and so there are some issues like that we're still kind of trying to work through for a literary and arts magazine, but yeah.
So it's very loose, not really it's arbitrary, and then just
right.
Anybody can submit what they want. It's just these small, tiny things. There's not really critical analysis.
No. I mean, it's more just it can't be too long, and it can't be offensive in the way that, because art, that's a whole other conversation, but no profanity is what the guidelines say online.
How can students submit their art, and when's the last day to submit the art?
I love this question because today is actually the deadline. And when I say today, I mean by the time I get into my office tomorrow morning is the deadline. They can submit online at tjc.edu/belltower. And they will look through the guidelines listed there, and there's a submit button down at the bottom of that page. And it'll take them to a form, and they just fill out the form. They enter in their name, their email, the description about the piece. They attach it to as an attachment to that form, and it comes into my OneDrive box. So that deadline, really, it's listed as today, and there's no time constraint as long as it's like today. So I'm still accepting pieces right now. And there's information about me if they need to know how to get in contact with me about questions and stuff like that for submission. So, but the deadline's today, and they do it online. And I did that because I wanted to include our dual credit students, our all online students, people who weren't physically on campus. I didn't want to exclude them from participating in the community journal.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I enjoyed this conversation very thoroughly.
Yes, I did as well. It was nice to have it.
When we come back, an interview with Dylan Preston, a TJC theater major who played Mr. Sir in TJC Theater's production of Holes.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids could look up to her.
my graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in yourself, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Kids!
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency.
Kids, you all right?
This family's prepared. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan. Go to nyc.gov/readyny or call 311 for more information.
Welcome back to the DrumBeat. I'm here with Dylan Preston, a TJC student who played Mr. Sir in TJC Theater's production of Holes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well.
That's great.
Can you give us a bit of information about Holes?
Right. So Holes is the second show we're doing this year. It is a very larger than life show because it's a story of triumph, and what a better way to show it than larger than life.
What was it like working on Holes?
Fast. It is our second slot of the 2 semesters this year, and we only have 4 weeks to put it together from auditions to final cut of our show. But other than that, it's been a very productive and fulfilling experience.
So compared to Descendants, was Holes a much smaller time frame? You mentioned 4 weeks. Was it 4 weeks for Descendants as well?
It was about 6.5 weeks for Descendants. But Descendants was a very large production, and it was a musical, so that makes things a bit more complicated. So this still worked out pretty well.
How do you get into character for your roles? You have a very eccentric style.
I always start with the script. Once I've been cast whatever character, I look into the script and see what it needs, where motivations are found, where I can add my own twist to that character. And then from there, it's simply, how do I get into the same path that this person was in?
So it's about putting yourself in the character's shoes, about really thinking thoroughly about how they'd feel instead of how you react to what they're feeling.
Exactly. Stanislavski is someone we study in theater here, and he has a very definite example of how action should be portrayed. You should have your personal sense of who you are and what you're doing, but then you have your character, and the way you portray your action is connecting them. So with your own experience, connecting to what the character is feeling.
So it is about putting yourself in their shoes, but it's also about combining your own twists on it to make it your own.
Right.
What would you tell aspiring TJC actors?
This is definitely the place to be. We have such an amazing stack of theater professors here, some that have had amazing professional success, but also teach the best out of anyone I've ever worked with. You also learn a lot from the people here. I've personally learned so much from the sophomores that were here last year. I learned so much about acting as a freshman from them. So it's a great experience to be here.
When and where can TJC students watch Holes?
So Holes is held in WCA in the Gene Brown Theater. It is going to be tonight and tomorrow and the following night at 7:30, but also Saturday we will have a 2:30 performance.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I enjoyed this conversation with you quite thoroughly.
Of course, thank you.
When we come back on this week's episode of DrumBeat on the Street, I asked TJC students if they would be voting in last Tuesday's midterms.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2
who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job to help feed my little sisters.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school.
It's been so amazing to be able to give our child the life that we kind of pictured us having, even though we didn't really have that.
I've been in foster care my whole life.
He's so strong to just be able to like leave that all behind and still be able to take care of his daughter and be a good husband.
Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone.
We've been through so much in our life, and he never used that as an excuse, but as motivation to do better.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. Here's one last story.
My name is Santiago Nunez, and on this week's episode of Drumbeat on the Street, I will be asking TJC students whether or not they will be voting in the upcoming midterms, why or why not.
No, I don't think I'll be voting for this because I'm not educated in that area, and I don't want to make the wrong decision for the state. So the more knowledgeable people can do that.
Yes, because I think it's important to vote in local government because everything starts in local government, and that's where we have the most power.
I haven't really decided if I am or not. I'm still kind of not sure.
Yes, I am voting. I don't know who I'll vote to.
I want to say I will be voting, but I can't promise that, so I'm going to say no. I'm not going to vote. I haven't decided if I want to vote or not, but for now, my answer is going to be no because, yeah, of course, our votes matter and all that, but I don't really like either one of them like that, so I don't know.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, you can always find the latest news at thedrumbeat.com and on our last show of the semester on November 27th.